Welcome to Chapter 2's Part 4, The Whole Organization Strategic Planning Process. If you've been viewing the parts in sequence, then you've crossed the halfway point. We're heading home. This is again going to be on the whole organization strategic planning process. This is the part where you ask me, what is the whole organization strategy and strategic planning process? I'm so glad you asked. Let's look at figure 2-1 in some detail. First step is the organizational mission. The authors of our textbook didn't want to complicate things. There's actually a step before organizational mission where you seek advice and guidance from stakeholders, senior headquarters if you have one, regulatory agencies, but let's keep it simple. First step, organizational mission. Then you develop your SWOT or SWOT process. We'll go into detail there. Then we'll establish goals and objectives for the whole organization and formulate the strategy to implement those goals and objectives. These first four parts are for the whole organization level. In the next part of the lecture, we continue on with formulate functional supporting strategies, implement, and then evaluate and assess your progress on meeting your objectives. So this part of the Chapter 2 presentation is on the first four steps of the whole organization strategic planning process. Thank you. Just so we don't get lost in all of these steps, let's remind ourselves of what is basic management and management's four processes. The first process is planning, and that's where you ask the questions, where are you going, where are you now, and how are you going to get there? So in this video on the whole organization's planning process is ask and answer those three questions. Going, now, how to get there. You then get organized. You get each section, production, marketing, human resources, finance, get it organized so it can support your basic plan, direct it, implement it, do it, and then control, evaluate, and reassess. So it's a special type of basic management. So don't get lost. It's just plan, organize, direct, control. Everything you've learned about the management four-step process. How does management conduct strategic planning? What's the process? What are these environmental analyses? Let's answer the questions. First step is the organizational mission. You may be creating it, you may be reconfirming it, you may be improving it. But whatever you do, you attempt in one sentence, they can be rather long, but in one sentence, define the organization's purpose, why it exists, its reason for being. Who are the primary customers? What are the products and services and ideas that you're producing? And in what geographic area are you going to operate? Essentially, answer the question, where are you going? The second step is conduct an environmental analysis. Tell me what's going on for the organization and its environment. And we'll do this through a SWOT or SWOT analysis. Term's been around for a long time. Different people pronounce it different ways. So I'm going to go with SWOT. And this is to help us answer the question, well, where are we now? First, we have to answer a simple question. I love this question. It's more of a joke, but come along with me. How many sides does a circle have? For the purposes of my illustration, the sides of a circle are 2, inside and outside. I love that. I'll use it over and over again. How many sides does a circle have? 2, inside and outside. Well, then our environmental analysis must be both inside the organization and outside the organization. The SWOT analysis then is going to do an environmental analysis on the positives for the organization and the negatives for the organization, both internal and external. So if we create a matrix, we've got internal positives and negatives and external positives and negatives. The internal positives and negatives are internal strengths and internal weaknesses. SW, strength and weakness, internal, followed by external opportunities and threats. There's the O and the T. So a SWOT analysis is an internal and external environmental analysis where you look at internal strengths and weaknesses plus external opportunities and threats. SWOT. The third step in a strategic planning process is once you know where you are now, you have to answer the question, well, how are you going to get there? So the whole organization answers the question, how are you going to get there, by establishing goals and objectives. I'm going to break apart a little bit, parse out goals and objectives. A goal is a general direction for guidance. We're going to lose weight. We're going to save money. We're going to have a happy workforce. Great goals. But how are you really going to do that? Because we're answering the questions, well, how are you going to get there? We do that by establishing objectives. You cannot manage what you cannot measure, and that comes from a variety of sources. So also from a variety of sources, I've come up with objective statements are SMART. Sounds like I'm a sheep. SMART. Specific, measurable, aligned, actionable, realistic, resource-based, time-based. Use the interrogatives. Who, does what, where, when, and by when, how much, how well. You take what your mission statement is, and then based upon where you are now from your SWOT analysis, you lay out your objectives that are resource-based. If you're really good at something, you don't have to spend as much resources to do it. If you're not as good at doing something, you may have to put more resources behind it to bring it up to speed. Step 3, how are you going to get there? By establishing objectives that support your strategic plan. We are moving along to the fourth part of the strategic planning process, but I'd like to handle that by asking a new question. What is HR strategic partnering, and why might this be important? Let's find out. The fourth step is formulate organizational strategy. Let me remind us now that we are formulating the whole organization strategy, but you want everybody to buy in not only to the process, but to the actual objectives being set, because they're the ones that are going to have to do it. So HR and strategic partnering is HR is just one of the people that are in the room. Got senior management, but you got all the functional leaders. So I'm going to focus on human resources right now. Our book gives us some reasons which say you want to have people aspire in ways that support the strategy, express the direction for goals, motivate managers to act. The book also provides us that you want to inspire others to support the strategy, encourage coordinating goal setting, bring goals together for reflection, but you want the organizational leadership to come in and go, while it's the whole organization strategy, we want buy-in through people's presence and contribution. I've worked in previous jobs that included working around aircraft and pilots, and just learned a saying. I'm sharing it with you here in the lower left. If I'm going to be in on the plane crash, I'd like to be in on the takeoff. So again, you're formulating whole strategy, but you need to get buy-in and partnership from the people that are actually going to execute it. Thought you'd like to know. So at the whole organization strategic plan, a lot of people get to help answer the question, how are you going to get there? Take a look. Human resources is on the left, but there's the chief operating officer, the head of research and development, the finance boss, marketing guru, the leader for the production team, and many, many other people are going to be in that room. Human resources is only one slice, but it's critical for their contributions because this person has to help you get there with the manpower solutions to problems. Think about it. When discussing whole organization strategies, we have to ask ourselves, well, what's our life cycle? Where are we trying to get to? Where are we now? So we're going to use the Boston Consulting Group's, BCG, Business Lifecycle Matrix. We're going to start by analyzing the matrix by looking at the 4 results. Number 1, in the upper right, are the stars. In the matrix, they're high market growth and high market share. They're stars. Along with them, to the lower right, are cash cows. Might have slowing market growth, but high market share. They're money makers. They're established. You hope to let them run. A third option is going to be in the lower left. Those are the dogs. Low market growth, low market share. They're making money, but everybody else is kind of pulling ahead of them. The mystery is in the upper left, which are the question marks. When you first start out, you might have a growth spurt, high market growth, but low market share. Question marks really are just that. Well, which way are they really going to end up? Over time, they're going to settle out which way. Well, you can analyze that using this matrix. So let's ask the questions. Where are you now? Senior management, junior managers, people in the strategic planning meeting, where do you think you are now in your marketplace? For-profit, not-for-profit, government agencies, just where are you now among the 4? Where are you going? Do you want to go someplace different or stay where you're at? Once you know where you are and where you're going, you can then figure out, well, how are we going to get there? And that's strategy formulation for the entire whole organization. Your next step then is actually formulating the strategies. It's beyond the scope of this course right now. Just know that you hope that people have helped develop and bought in and are going to implement the strategies. Just do a quick read down the slide. You can see the way a for-profit business can create strategies to move the organization in the direction they want to go or stay put. Want to learn more about whole organization strategic management and strategic planning? Well, that's what the Management 449 Strategic Management and Policy course is all about. For the Human Resource Management undergraduate concentration, look at HRM 440. Just happens to be the Strategic HR capstone course. These are the references I use to support our lecture and remind ourselves that we have covered 4 of the 7 major steps. If you like to stay in sequence, part 5 is planning the HR supporting strategies. If you're jumping around, then I'll see you in the next part. Thank you for your time and attention. If you're eating spaghetti, You eat that spaghetti strand in all one bite. So just a word to the wise. You could pick it up and we'll talk about formulating functional support strategies.